We're back. The playoffs are in full swing. Boy, am I tired with the amount of football that I have been watching over this past weekend. We'll recap Super Wild Card Weekend, give you a preview of the divisional round and the Kirby on Sports PickEm. That all comes your way. Episode 222 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. It starts right now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is evening as we are recording, but whenever you catch us, episode 222 of the Kirby on Sports podcast, we thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Josh Kirby. So glad that you are with us. A big shout out to all of our sponsors of the Kirby on Sports podcast. PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Transformative Alignment Group, Barrett Pest and Termite Services, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Shenandoah Music, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, the new Cider House on East Piccadilly Street in Winchester, Virginia, and Don't Sleep Energy. Use promo code KOS Podcast for 12% off your order every single time. Not wasting any more time, bringing in the first member of our squad. The playoff season is in full swing. The weapon, Dan Dembski, joins us right now. Dan, good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are we doing this fine evening?
I am doing just fine, sir. The week's been busy so far, but glad we're kicking off our shoes and just propping up and talking some football with the boys today.
I had a lot of football to break down, a lot of football to watch. It was, it got to be exhausting by the end. I'm not going to lie, but
absolutely.
Glad we whittled it down to 8 teams, and now we're getting into the thick of things now. So it should be good.
That's what makes it so fun. A man who needs no introduction, the Swiss Army knife, Carlos Martinez, with the belt, as the Kirby on Sports Pick'em is heating up, but we will get to that later. Carlos, what is up, buddy?
You ruined my intro. You did not mention that I am the two-time Pick'em's champion. Still the two-time Pick'em's champion.
I would
still in the league to be the third.
I mean, if I forgot it 1 week, people can go back and hear that you are the two-time.
Incorrect. You must always remind them of my greatness, baby. Drink it in giving you the gift of the Swiss Army knife. Drink it in, man.
Where's my puke bucket? Let's move on.
Let's move on. Dan, just from the top rope Monday Night Raw. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've won. I will agree with that. It's been a minute.
So, gentlemen, in the order as
he's never won.
I never come close.
Yeah.
Until this year. He's right.
Until this year. He's in the thick of it. He's in the thick of it. He's in the battle. He's in it.
Yes, sir.
Not for long, unfortunately, but
stay tuned. Just stay tuned. Stay tuned for the pick'ems. You everybody's in for a great surprise.
Yeah.
Best segment.
So, in order as the games went, we will touch on some and break down a little bit more in depth. So, how it broke down.
Wait. This is Super Wild Card Weekend?
Yes.
Oh, I have a bye week. Sorry, I got.
Okay.
Oh, well.
I'll let you
Okay.
two duke it out, and then I'll take on the scraps. So I'm gonna take a vacation for a week, and I'll see you guys after my.
I know he's trolling. But,
All right. Chargers, Texans, Saturday. So let me break it down again.
Scrubs,
Saturday.
bunch of scrubs, both.
all right, just move on. Let him. If he comes back in, we'll just.
Okay, I'm done.
There he is.
What are we doing? Okay.
All right, Kirby, Chargers, Texans.
Yes, Chargers, Texans. Starting off with the Saturday slate. We all picked the Chargers, but
Herbert stinks. Move on. I mean, it was terrible. He was terrible.
the Chargers,
Chargers.
In the same stadium,
Harbaugh,
Jim Harbaugh won.
classic Harbaugh move, choke in the biggest moments.
Crazy.
I believe the other Harbaugh has a Super Bowl, but sure. Are you talking about Jim?
I was talking about Jim.
Well,
because he never. Well, think about it. Think about his history. Man. Like, for the most part, he's choked.
Yeah, I guess in the Super Bowl he did choke. That is for sure.
Against another Harbaugh.
Yeah, I don't know though. I mean, I feel like he wasn't given a fair shake after that in the NFL. But that's just my opinion. But he smelled the money and went to college, so I get it. But the Chargers looked like the Brandon Staley led Chargers. They regressed back to that form, and it was tough to watch. Justin Herbert, I don't know if there's a bigger choke artist quarterback in the National Football League than Justin Herbert. I'm going to come out and say it.
And give the Texans credit. They played very hard, too.
They did.
I mean, defensively, they did. Okay, stop. Defensively, they played hard, okay?
Agreed.
Offensively, the only reason why they finally got it going is because the defense was giving them chance, and Herbert was giving them the ball back.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Again, the stat everybody keeps bringing up about this game is Herbert threw 3 interceptions all season and throws 4 in this game. Like, I don't know what happened. He completely collapsed. But let's not sit here and act like the Texans did anything impressive, okay? That Chargers offense is not an impressive beast. They had no receivers. They had their tight end was dropping the ball left and right, and their running game never got going. I've never been impressed by Justin Herbert or the Chargers. The football nerds love Justin Herbert for some reason.
They do.
They just gaga over him. Oh my God, he's so elite, but he's never won a freaking thing. So I don't want any talk of Justin Herbert until I see him win a playoff game. Until then, he is not elite. He's not great. He's a good quarterback. That's it. He's nothing more. He's not on the same tier as the Mahomes, the Allens, the Burrows, the Lamars. He's not up there. He's just not. So
yeah, he's 10 to 15. He's somewhere in that range, I would say. I'd say 10 to 15 probably.
I agree.
But Carlos nailed it. He pretty much said everything I was going to say. And yeah, the Texans don't necessarily scare me either. They kind of stumbled into the playoffs. They stumbled into the playoffs themselves. So I think their run ends this weekend. So.
I agree with Carlos on the offense too, and and Deontay Johnson was really helping as well. That's why they just kicked him to the curb. So
I knew you would bring this up, and it's totally irrelevant. But I knew you were like it's. I know it's made
He's good enough himself.
It's like
it made the group chat, so therefore was going to make an appearance here.
Boy, yeah.
Well, it was just a headline I saw, and I was like, yeah, that goes par for the course in my mind.
It's the kind of player he is. He's a locker room cancer. He's become that way, and there's a reason why he's played for 3 teams in 8 months?
1 year.
Not even a year. So it's...
one season he's been on 3 teams. He was on the Panthers, then he had a cup of coffee with the Ravens, and then
literally a nice tea.
Yeah, so I mean, just the Chargers chargered, like you said, Carlos, in our group chat, and that's what happened, and the Texans are moving on. But again, you're not impressed, Carlos, which I agree with, and it's going to be a tall task as they ride.
Good luck.
We'll talk about it in the pick'em segment.
All right.
I'll just say good luck. That's all.
So the Texans over the Chargers 32-12. The next matchup, the Baltimore Ravens victorious 28-14 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. It seems to be an ongoing trend that the acceptable way of life in Pittsburgh is a winning season, but nothing more. What's a winning season get you in the NFL? A pat on the back, because if you can't win a playoff game, you can't get back to the Super Bowl. It's starting to become a trend. Am I right here, boys?
Yeah, it's kind of become Mike Tomlin's MO that he's never had a losing season. We understand that, but he simply cannot win a playoff game in the last few years. It's been, I don't know how many years it's been since they got past the wild card round. It's been a while. I want to say it's like at least 3 or 4 years. I'd have to check on this. But they, for whatever reason, they don't have any consistency in the postseason. I don't know what it is. It seems like they just always find a way to self-destruct. And to me, that just falls back on the head coach at some point. Like, you're obviously not prepared for these types of situations. You're not motivating your players to go out there and play their best, and it's showing. So, and not to mention, they also finished the season on a 5-game losing streak, which is just brutal. To lose 5 straight games when they had that division pretty much locked up at a certain point, and at least on paper, they had a 2-game lead, I think, over the Ravens, and they completely gave it up. So, that being said, I don't think you can fire Mike Tomlin. I mean, he's likely, he's going to the Hall of Fame. It's pretty apparent with all the success he's had in the National Football League. But it's I don't know what the solution is, right? Like, I don't know if you bring in, I don't know, like I don't know. I don't know if you bring in an assistant coach or something or something along those lines to sort of help give another edge to this team. But they have some questions to answer for sure, and it starts with Mike Tomlin for sure.
All right.
I'm not sure. I don't really have much to say on the Steelers except they got to really figure out what their quarterback situation is.
That too.
They got to figure out this culture that that Mike Tomlin allows to happen, where these receivers are just absolute divas, where
George Pickens,
they just they've completely lost the plot on what Steeler football used to be. It used to be hard hitting, tough, gritty football. They've completely lost that on the defensive side. TJ Watt didn't even record a single statistic. I look, what I want to focus on here is I am about ready to put this narrative that the Steelers have Lamar's number to bed, because I think we have clearly seen that. Oh, and he has finally silenced these playoff doubters, kind of like myself. I was kind of a doubter because he played phenomenal in this game, and Derrick Henry played phenomenal. And once again, they slayed the demon of Pittsburgh. Granted, in Baltimore, it seems like there is no voodoo against them in Baltimore. It's Pittsburgh. They have to slay that demon more importantly. But if the game is going to be in Baltimore, Lamar's got that all day. And again, with the way this team, with the ways the Steelers limped into the playoffs, it was just, there was just no way that Baltimore was going to lose. Baltimore is just playing at an exceptional level right now. They look fantastic. And, in terms of the Steelers and what to do with Mike Tomlin, I'm with Dan. I don't think you can really fire him. That's not what the Steelers' MO really is. They don't really let go of coaches. I mean, think about it. They've only had about 3 coaches in the past 30 years.
In the last 50 years, they've only had 3. Yeah, it's nuts.
How many,
you were right. 3.
I said 3? Yeah, okay. I was okay. For a second, I was like, did I say 4? No, it's 3. Yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah.
They just don't move on from coaches,
they don't
really. But Mike Tomlin does need to do some soul searching here and figure out, like, hey, what do I have to change to get this to bring back what Steeler football used to be known as? In terms of Baltimore, again, a lot to be, happy about. You guys vanquished your biggest rival in terms of in the division. And it's a good first step. You guys have momentum going into Buffalo, and Lamar got, played a great game from start to finish. And
Yeah,
that's a
complete
really,
game.
really, really good sign. Really good sign for the Ravens is that it wasn't like last year where against Houston he played a rough first half and then lit it up in the second half.
Right.
This was like, again, like from the jump, he was just awesome. And it's good to see that like he's not letting the past weigh on him. He's playing freely and just like it sometimes it looks effortless. So yeah, that's and the defense playing phenomenal too. So
Yeah, they've really stepped up, and I think that's going to be the key going down the stretch, especially playing Buffalo because you know what you have to face in Josh Allen, and then if they win that game and if Kansas City wins, which is likely, then you have to go and play Patrick Mahomes. You have to beat two of the best quarterbacks in the league to get to the
you have
Super
to
Bowl.
do
Hypothetically.
the path for you guys is the same as it was for us last year. We had to go to Buffalo and then we had to go to you guys. This time around is you have to go to Buffalo and you have to come to us. It's not going to be an easy path, but guess what? If you get through Buffalo and you get through us,
It seems like a given. It seems like a given at that point. It really does.
I mean, come
I don't
on,
think anyone else can stop us.
I think Kansas City can. Buffalo.
Well, I mean, if we get past,
if you guys get past both of us, but both of these teams, yeah, it's just like I don't think any NFC team really can stop
matches up
the dynamic duo between Lamar and Derrick Henry, and then you throw in a Zay Flowers and a Rashad Bateman and Mark Andrews. This game is going to be challenging against Buffalo, and we'll talk about it more in the Pick'em segment. But in more terms of just focusing on this is a great first game to kick off the playoff campaign.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think, too, another thing that was, a confidence builder from the start of this game, they opened up the game 95-yard touchdown drive. Second drive, an 85-yard touchdown drive. And then the third drive, a 90-yard touchdown drive. So you kick off the game with 3 long touchdown drives to go into halftime up 21-0, and pretty much, they were able to coast after that. Yeah, and Carlos, you nailed it about the defense. I think it's something that has been discussed, but maybe not talked about it enough, is how much this defense has recovered from where they were in about weeks 5 and 6, where they had one of the worst defenses in the AFC for sure, especially against the pass. I mean, they were giving up big plays down the field. They've really ratcheted that up and tightened that up. So everything has come together for the Ravens so far. I think what I like most is they've embraced the run. It seemed like, obviously, we talked about their struggles last year in the playoffs, especially in the game against Kansas City, where they completely abandoned the run, and it was ugly. And we've seen so far in the playoffs, they've stuck with that. I think that's going to have to be the game plan going up to Buffalo as well, is to continue to lean on the running game. And then also just letting Lamar have more quarterback runs. I think that's made a big difference too. And we saw not as many big runs in this game as we've seen in Lamar's past, but I think just the threat of, hey, he can still run, because last year in the playoffs it just wasn't there. Like they weren't calling his number much at all. So defenses really didn't have to worry as much about the read options and the RPOs and things like that. So yeah, I think it's really all come together for the Ravens right now. This is obviously going to be a tough matchup against the Bills, but I was thrilled with that game. I thought it was a really good performance, like you all said, from start to finish, and on both sides of the ball. Special teams also was solid as well. So I'm excited going into Buffalo. I think it's going to be it's the game everybody wants to see right now in the playoffs. It's a shame one of these teams has to go home, but listen, you got the 2 MVP frontrunners, most likely. I mean, I think everyone can securely say that now. One of the guys on this field is going to win the MVP. And, I think it's going to be a great matchup. So I'm excited for what's to come. And I think for Pittsburgh, I think we covered that. I think they have a fair share of issues. And you nailed it on the diva wide receivers, Carlos. It's crazy to see how just unwieldy George Pickens is. It's just crazy to me. And And again, I think a head coach who has control of the situation gets control of the situation, and you can kind of see it seems like Tomlin has lost the locker room in a way. So he's gonna have to find a way to get the trust of those players back, I think, moving forward. But great win for the Ravens. Always glad when we beat the Steelers. Even better when we knock them out of the playoffs and we're moving on. So
I will say though, my one key out of this game, Lamar and Derrick Henry was like a 1-2 punch going all game long.
Yep.
I loved the efficient performance from both of them. If it's not Derrick Henry, it's Lamar Jackson. I'm not discrediting Likely, who had 53 yards, Mark Andrews with 27 yards, but the 1-2 punch seemed to be either Lamar taking it himself or Derrick Henry, and I really love to see that in this game.
Oh, and the crazy thing too is just how Lamar is able to run around and make plays, and it's definitely nerve-wracking going into this weekend when you have to face a defense that's quite a bit better than Pittsburgh's defense, that could, make the plays for big loss of yardage and sacks. So you got to be aware of that. But I think just him keeping the plays alive has been the biggest thing throughout his career. We've seen over and over again on his highlights just how he can run around and make plays, throwing the football as well as his threat to run as well. I think he's just a dynamic duo, and having Derrick Henry, he's been the biggest lift to them this offseason that I think they desperately needed. It may be one of the best signings that I can recall, the free agency signings the Ravens ever having, to be quite honest with you, has been Derrick Henry and his presence not only on the field but also as a leader in the locker room as well. All
right. So the Baltimore Ravens.
Carlos is like, we've exhausted it.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. Like, he's like waiting for me to chime in. I have nothing more to add.
He has said his piece.
It's a respect thing, because if I just chime in immediately, Carlos has a thought. I'm just, there it is. If not,
well, he and I would just start talking. It doesn't matter. So if we have something to say, we're just going to say it.
You have something to say, you're just going to say that is true. I will say for certainty that we are going to take a commercial break. When we come back right here on episode 222 of the Kirby on Sports podcast, 3 games to discuss on Sunday, part of Super Wild Card Weekend. Stick right here with us. You're tuned into episode 222 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram, or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com.
Winning sports teams thrive on alignment. Every player knows their role, trusts their teammates, and works toward one shared goal, winning. But let me ask you, what about your senior leadership team? Are they driving your business toward success? At Transformative Alignment Group, we help CEOs uncover and address the hidden drain on productivity caused by disengaged employees that cost companies millions annually. Transform your team. Transform your results. Visit tagalignment.com today. Don't settle for good when you can be amazing. That's tagalignment.com.
And we welcome you back to episode 222 of the Kirby on Sports podcast, alongside the weapon Dan Dembski, the two-time Swiss Army knife Carlos Martinez. I am Josh Kirby, back with you to recap Super Wild Card Weekend. The games on Sunday, gentlemen. The Broncos scored 7 points, but the Bills scored 31. Thanks for playing Denver. Have a great offseason.
Yeah, it was a good quarter or so.
No, it was a good first drive. Let's say that.
Yeah.
The highlight reel, I saw some on social media, just that first play down to the receiver, and I'm like, yep, they made a joke of it, obviously, but that was essentially the only highlight, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think at least when the game started and they made that play, I thought, okay, maybe they're gonna find a way to stick around in this game. But they stuck around and promptly left the building after that touchdown. So credit to the Bills, they took control of that game and pretty much never looked back. And I mean, they straight up dominated the Broncos after that opening drive Denver had. So. Yeah, I don't have a ton to say. It felt like almost like a warm-up game for the Bills after they gave up the touchdown in the first series. And that's all I have to say. I think the Broncos are a young team. They're going to be back in the playoffs, I'm sure. And they will be a force to be reckoned with down the line, I'm sure, but their youth definitely showed in this game, and they fell behind, and they were drowning. And Josh Allen just continued to make unbelievable plays against this defense. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. Great job by the Bills coming out and dominating after that rough start, and moving on, hosting the Ravens on Sunday.
I don't have a whole lot to add.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills look good. The Broncos, I think they're going to grow from this, but the Bills just looked like the Bills normally do. And Josh Allen looked really good, only 6 incompletions in the game. And Cook with 120 yards rushing. Their offense was just playing very good, very solid football from the Buffalo Bills. And, I mean, that's pretty much all I have on this, too. It's just the Bills played the Bills brand of football, essentially.
Yeah, and you could see just how overwhelmed the Broncos were once the Bills really stepped into high gear, and that's just that's a sign of an inexperienced young team in the postseason. So, and the Bills have been there and done that several times, so you could see the experience levels were on full display, and yeah, so great win for the Bills. They dominated for sure.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add. The Bills over the Broncos 31-7. The next game, shifting to the NFC, the Eagles defeating the Packers 22-10. And it looked like it was not going the Packers' way from the start, losing that fumble on the opening kickoff, scoring a touchdown. And the Packers just injury after injury after injury, especially on their own line too, and just contributed to some holding penalties there as well. The Packers weren't really able to get much generated. And the Eagles, I mean, they were able to get by. I thought there would be more points scored, but their offense, in my mind, doesn't look like anything special. And I think we've touched on this before, but I mean, they come out on top, and that's all that matters in a wild card playoff game.
Well, a win is a win. At the end of the day, you got to factor in Jalen Hurts hasn't played in about 3 weeks.
Good point.
So he's going to be rusty. And it was just a weird, strange game. It usually is between these two teams, and you got to think about their game in Brazil. It was also a weird game. Granted, you could kind of chalk that up to the turf that they had down there in Brazil. It wasn't the best. But yeah, just the important thing in the playoffs is not about how you win. It's about winning.
That's it.
So they found a way to win. They pretty much controlled the game for the most part. The Packers did not look organized. They didn't look prepared. It didn't look like a Matt LaFleur team. And they came in with, Christian Watson being, having a torn ACL and being out for the rest of the year. And then they lost their next two wide receivers throughout the game. And then it was injury after injury, and it was just to the point of no return. And Jordan Love didn't necessarily play the best. He kind of struggled to get going all season, in all honesty, because he would start to get going a little bit and then he'd get hurt, or just something would happen that would stop him from really, getting going this year. But a lot to figure out in Green Bay and in Philadelphia. Look, this game against the Rams ain't going to be easy. They're going to come out and it looks like they're ready to play. Even though the last few weeks they looked a little lackluster, and that's why we had a hard time believing in them. But what they showed against the Vikings was pretty impressive. So the Philly better get this offense going, because that offense that they put out, I don't think is going to beat a Sean McVay-led team.
I could agree with you there. I think looking at the performance, and we'll get into this a little bit more, of the Rams and the Rams defense as well, looking from the game against the Vikings, this could be a dogfight in the divisional round if the Eagles offense does not step up. And I mean, I'm not sure if AJ Brown reading books on the sideline helps or anything, but that might be a storyline as well. But regardless, just that it could be a dogfight.
Yeah, and listen, the NFL doesn't have series, right? It's a single elimination. You're in, or either you move on or you're out. So it doesn't necessarily matter how much of a blowout how much you win by. It's just if you win. So credit the Eagles for being able to do that. It wasn't necessarily pretty, and it wasn't necessarily the most dominant fashion of a game. Carlos nailed it. They're going to have to get that offense looking more in a rhythm, because they looked out of sync kind of from the start of this game. And that's concerning, being a team that, obviously with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, like we know what this offense is capable of doing. But yeah, I think for the other side, I think the Packers just had so many mistakes compound over and over. It seemed like every time they had some momentum, there was a mistake. Or like you all mentioned, they had a bunch of injuries as well. So that was just a bad break for the Packers in this game, losing all those players. And then plus, it seemed like they couldn't get out of their own way a lot of times in this game, and the Eagles were able to take advantage. So it's really all I have to say. I was kind of disappointed in the Packers' performance. I felt like they were going to put up more of a fight. At least it seemed like for 3 quarters, they were right in that game. But I think the wheels finally completely came off there in the 4th quarter. So credit the Eagles for being able to win, but they got some stuff to address. They did not look as dominant as we've seen them look throughout the season. So that's going to be an important fact. And like Carlos said, you're facing a Rams team and a McVay-led team that, a coach who has the experience, who's been there. And that makes a huge difference in the postseason. It really, really, really does. And having a quarterback who's also done it as well. So going to be a tough task for the Eagles. I really believe that. But I think this should be a really, really fun matchup, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that matchup as well. And I mean, the one thing about Philly's offense too, Saquon Barkley, he looks good, but you need more than Saquon Barkley, because defenses can easily figure out, in a way, how to
stop the run. Yeah,
stop the run. Then
right.
you got to go to the pass. And if you're not effectively using your receivers, how are you going to win a football game if you can't generate enough offense?
You're not going to use your soldiers, as Hollywood Brown once said. You gotta use your soldiers out there. So, yeah, I think that's a great point. I think they have to get more creative in the passing game, and in the play action pass as well, because you could see the Packers defense. I got to give them credit. They looked, for the most part, like I mean, they were hanging around in this game. So, and their only reason is really because of the defense. The offense and Jordan Love was really not doing them any favors. But yeah, I agree. I agree completely, Kirby.
Anything else to add, Carlos?
Nah, short and sweet.
See, Carlos is just relaxing since the Chiefs were on a bye. He's like, this is pretty
Dude,
easy.
I have no vested interest in any of these games. I don't really. I mean,
I know. That's why you're just kicking back, relaxing.
I've got nothing to say.
Yeah. So with that, the Eagles over the Packers 22-10. Up until this point, gentlemen, is the fact that we haven't really seen a good football game. And we're like, how's this matchup going to look on Sunday night? And
we knew, but that's the thing. We knew that if any game was going to be fun, it was going to be this one.
And it was.
There's a reason why they put this one on Sunday Night Football.
Just the seedings alone. I mean, it's a pretty even matchup, yeah.
And it was some good viewership. I think they broke a viewership rating for this game. I don't really know where to start, man. Just holy cow.
Well, start by staying off Facebook. So go ahead.
Hold
Continue.
on. Okay. Yeah. Let's start. Let me start.
I was stating the facts. I was stating facts. That's all. That's all there is to it. But
you have an
let
addiction,
me start
sir.
here.
My bantering worked, and the Commanders got to win.
Bantering, please.
That's always how it starts. I'm always posting a fact or being negative. They turn it
You
around.
mean, no.
It's not a fact.
Okay, no. That's not how that has ever worked, but okay. Let me start here. Hold on. Okay. So let me start here. Let me start with the fact that this is your guys' first playoff victory since 2005. Do you want to know a little history on 2005? 2005, when they lost, when the then Washington Redskins lost to the Seattle Seahawks in the next round after they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, correct? That's who you guys beat in 2005?
I believe that was
right. That is correct.
It was Tampa.
A lot of history entwined between your guys' franchises. Hilariously, that same day that they lost to the Seattle Seahawks was the first time me and my family ever came out to Winchester to come see the town and decide to move out here.
No kidding.
That's how crazy. That's how long it's been since you guys have won.
Wow.
A playoff game.
Oh, actually, I'll give you one more. Alex Ovechkin has scored 848 goals.
Yeah, I knew this.
Between Commanders.
You see, I made it a personal story. He's trying to make it something about.
He's pulling it right off of Twitter. I saw this on Twitter.
Somebody sent it.
This is
something. Doesn't even credit who the person was.
But it's a cool
Anyways,
fact.
Come on, Kirby. Talk about your team. The floor is yours.
Gentlemen, what a game to start. Did you all watch the entirety or some of it?
Pretty much.
I had it on. I mean, I fell asleep for a little bit, and then I woke back up and caught the end.
Apparently, the fans, their Commanders fans were rolling deep at Raymond James.
It seemed loud when they had a big play. Yeah.
I mean, anytime, and I'm not saying this, but they were chanting MVP, and I'm like,
I heard it. I don't know why. Well, they corrected on the broadcast. They're like,
here, but I'm like,
he's not winning MVP.
Lamar Jackson and Jaden. I mean, I'm gonna have to go with Lamar.
Offensive Rookie of the Year. Yeah, you got to give it to Jaden.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but I mean, I haven't seen any other rookie that has done more than what Jaden has done. offensive rookie
Prescott.
of the year. But
What about CJ Stroud last year? Yeah, I mean,
no,
Dak
I'm
Prescott won
sorry.
more games
I'm
than
sorry,
CJ Stroud.
I'm sorry,
Not
I'm
CJ
sorry.
It's true.
No, what I meant rookie in
Good
this
point.
draft class.
oh
in
yeah,
this
because it
draft
was
class. Well, hold on. I mean, Bo Nix
it's a
got
pretty
to
bad
this round
draft
too.
class. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I wouldn't say
Yeah.
it's a bad draft class. It's just it's not.
There's not more than like 2 guys that are exciting. Yeah.
So, I mean, the fans packed it deep, and
Pause.
where to even start, man? Where to start? Can you tell I'm kind of happy with this? So,
Well, let's start talking about the game, man. You keep saying where to start, and you just won't just start talking. Just start somewhere.
Just give us your thoughts on the game. It doesn't matter what point of the game you start. It doesn't
Say.
matter what.
obviously,
Give us the thoughts on the game.
It's your team, man.
starts off, the Bucks get the ball first, field goal, and Commanders drive down,
This is
get
how
a
you know he's
touchdown.
never been here before.
Then,
He doesn't know how to react to a big win.
so then
It's
a
like me
field
and
goal
Dan just
after
don't just
that.
talk about your team,
No.
and then
Well,
you're just going,
the
I don't know what to
Commanders-
say.
The
I
Commanders
don't know what to
have-
do with my hands.
Uh,
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Gentlemen,
All right, go on.
the Commanders with a comfortable 10-3 lead. Then obviously we get the storyline: Marshawn Lattimore against Mike Evans. Folks, you heard it from me. You heard it from Carlos first. I agree with Carlos. Marshawn Lattimore is not good. I'm sorry, but he's really
I'm
not.
Say he's
good.
not good. I didn't. Pause. I did not say he was not good.
yeah,
I
you
just said he
that-
wasn't the elite corner that a lot
Oh,
of people
yes,
thought he was
yes.
going to be coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The problem is Mike Evans just always cooks Lattimore.
Yes.
You can't
He
really
always
base it
ha-
off of that. Okay.
He always has.
He's-
Always throughout his career.
Has always
Yeah.
had his number.
Yep.
So that's what made it interesting. Mike Evans scores that touchdown, the first touchdown for Tampa Bay to tie things up going into halftime. Then,
Yes, that's crazy.
and the big storyline too. Let me get to this. So obviously, then Gonzalez in the third quarter kicking a field goal, and then Baker Mayfield to Bucky Irving. The defense is getting kind of leaky for the Washington Commanders, but the defense steps up when needed, and it showed. I will give you examples. Jaden Daniels to Terry McLaurin, that was a 4th down in goal play. Then the huge drive, 4:45 left. The Buccaneers, an 8-play, 61-yard drive that stalls, giving them the field goal. And then the Commanders, again, what is Carlos doing? He's
I'm
just
listening. I'm listening.
Just keep going, Kirby. I'm listening.
So,
I'm
then-
listening too.
so
I'm
then
listening intently, actually.
so then the drive around 4 minutes left in the game.
The drive. Oh, please, come on. This is not the. I think it was. Anyway, continue.
I mean, it seems
It's not
like,
to win the freaking Super Bowl, man. It's a wild card game. But anyway, continue.
Listen, Dan, you have to give him a little slack.
I know.
He's
He was
new
in-
here.
He was in
he
diapers
hasn't
when
been
they
this
last
far.
won. I get it.
Like
He was in diapers when they won
he's
the last
new
playoff game.
here. They've never tasted this type of success before. You
You're
gotta
right.
let them have their moment. Dan, for us, we've been here multiple times.
So-
This is nothing.
This is new, or this is nothing new. Yeah.
it's what I like to call the drive, because this is something that Commanders fans are used to. The ball is in Jaden Daniels' hands with the offense on the field, with a chance to march down and produce a game-winning drive, which happened again. A game-winning field goal, Zane
Yep.
Gonzalez, that hit off the upright and in to win the game. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, let me start there.
You're really not gonna do it. You're perfect opportunity to do it. You do it for when my team did it, when we doinked to win the division, but you're not gonna say what Mike Tirico said it, a doink to go to the divisional round. You're not gonna do it? Really? Wow. What type of Twilight Zone are we in?
Yeah. This is not Josh Kirby. I don't know who
Excuse
this
me.
is.
It was a doink to go to Detroit. Yeah,
He needs to get cancel culture for that. That's terrible.
okay, but yes, it was a doink to go the divisional round.
Yes.
It seems like there are a lot of doinks on NBC when it comes to field goals. But besides the point,
It's pretty unreal. We've seen so many doinks in the last like 2 years.
We had the double doink.
the
We had
double
the doink to win
doink.
the division. The doink to go
Yeah.
to the divisional round.
It's wild, man.
Great
It's
drama
totally
though.
wild.
Great drama.
so
Yeah. Also, you could tell how nervous he was when he had his helmet off. He was just like messing with his hair like 50 times and all
took
that.
his sock off before
Yeah.
the kick. He
Well,
changed his shoe. I'm like, are you kidding me?
it helped. I mean, he doinked it
I
through.
reached out to friend of the podcast, Mark Mosley, to get his thoughts on that game-winning kick, to get his analysis, and he provided some really great insight for me there. But I'm like, what a game that was.
Okay, and that was.
Yeah. What was the insight? Yeah, you're gonna
Top-
really just mention and not say what he said to you?
Let me get the correct wording. So
Did he mention the turning point of the game?
No,
I think I might have missed him. He didn't mention the fumble.
he
not
has not mentioned the Baker fumble yet.
not yet. So Mark Mosley, good friend of the podcast, he mentioned that Zane Gonzalez punched it
Former
instead
NFL
of
MVP.
swinging.
Yes.
Yes.
Say it
so,
one more time. One more time.
So Mark Mosley, league MVP, former league MVP, Super Bowl champion, he said that Zane Gonzalez punched it instead of swinging.
Okay.
You always swing no matter the distance. Don't change your swing.
Right.
That's basically along the lines of what he said. So
It's like a golf swing. Yeah,
Yeah.
You don't change it.
pretty much, which, but apparently Zane Gonzalez has OCD. So
I think that's why he was. Yeah, people were. I mean, making.
Well, that's
not
why he
making
did
fun
the
of, but
stock
they were-
thing. That's
the
why he was
hair.
messing with his hair so much.
but at the
I mean,
end
when
of
he
the
was doing the
day-
hair
Yeah.
thing, I was like, "Oh, he's nervous.
Yeah,
this is
I-
gonna be bad."
I thought he was gonna miss after that. I'm not even gonna lie. I was
And
like,
he
Yeah.
almost did. Luckily, he doinked it just perfectly enough for it to go in.
yeah.
So for Tampa Bay, there were a lot of mistakes, man. I'll tell you, like, you got numerous penalties shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, they had a ton of penalties.
Todd
Ton
Bowles
of undisciplined
addressed
play.
it too. Todd Bowles seriously did address it. And then, the Bucks are trying to get on a roll. That Baker run up the middle like he did against New Orleans to try to generate some positive momentum. And the turning point, as Carlos said, the fumble. The defense just stepped up at the right times.
Whoa. Pause. The defense did not cause that fumble. Tampa Bay fumbled that on their own. Okay,
I'm
that
just
was a
saying in
botched
general.
play.
I'm
Do
just-
not
Botched.
sit there and give your defense credit for that because your defense
did
did
it.
not make
did
that
it.
turnover.
No,
Yeah,
I
you
you
did.
just said
Don't even
The
say you don't.
defense stepped up. You just said that.
Well, I didn't say the defense caused that fumble, but Bobby Wagner was
Yeah,
right there.
You know,
veteran.
but you were talking
way you
about
worded
the
it,
fumble
yeah.
there. The way
How
you worded it
worded
was
it.
as if you were saying the defense caused that. That's why I had to
No,
stop you
Okay,
there.
well, the defense did not cause it to make Carlos happy there, but Bobby Wagner was right there.
No, not to make me happy. You state the facts. The defense did not force that fumble.
Okay, so with that, a fumble, but at times, Bucky Irving, the running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, there were times that the Commanders' defense stepped up when needed and stopped them. The passing defense, it was, 50-50? But
I thought they played well down the stretch.
Yeah.
I really do.
I really think
I
they
did too. I mean, yeah. I think in the second half they did really step up because they finally stopped putting Lattimore on
yes.
man-to-man
Double
coverage
Mike
on Mike
Evans.
Evans.
That
They
was
moved
the biggest
they
thing.
moved Lattimore off to the other side and double covered Mike Evans, which is what you guys should have done in the first place. But
Yeah.
obviously they were going to give Lattimore his chance to see, okay, is he feeling it today? Is he going to be able to shut down Mike Evans? It was clear he wasn't. You saw then once they made that change, then it started becoming a little tougher for Baker to pass the ball. And then that also was in turn able to disrupt the running game also and give the Commanders defense a chance to stop Bucky Irving.
And another Tampa Bay mistake. they had that close play in the red zone where the snap came, but nobody was ready. And the Commanders just busted through, tackled Bucky Irving, forcing a field goal, which set up
It's a big play.
the game-winning drive.
Which set up the drive.
Well, you know, what Commanders fans are like, oh, here it is. Jaden Daniels once again.
Yeah, you can tell they haven't been to the playoffs much. The drive. Come on.
Listen, this game was like playing at the casino. And I'll tell you what.
It's a fun game.
Dan Quinn has a pair, I'll tell you. He has a pair with the amount of times going forward on fourth down.
When the fourth
he
down
tried to
play
give it away. He tried to give it away. He really did.
I know.
Yeah, that fourth down play that went for that touchdown. I literally was saying, like, right before the play started, I was like, I feel like this is a mistake. And then you guys scored, and I was like, oh, I guess it's not a mistake. I felt like, yeah, it was super. It was a super aggressive decision by him.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna see what happens in Detroit, because now you guys are going into the place where Dan Campbell loves to go for fourth downs. Are you guys gonna be going for fourth downs as well?
It'll be interesting.
The fourth downs, he cashed in. The Commanders went to the casino down in Tampa Bay, and they cashed in. Because the fourth downs in the playoffs, and the term is in the playoffs, you have to take the points. But in reality, the amount of times the Commanders converted on fourth down, they didn't do it every time, which led to points, added up to more points than it would have if they took the field goals.
They left 6 points on the board, right?
Correct. So, I know. Yeah. So
I mean, it worked out, but it's still a gamble and still not smart.
Would you say that the Commanders stole the Buccaneers' booty?
Arg. But the Commanders learned from week 1 to now. I knew this was going to be a very different game, and it showed. It really did show, and this was going to be a dogfight. And just what a game to put this on Sunday Night Football. The Commanders' first playoff win since 2005. I didn't get to bed till 2 a.m., boys. Watching coverage.
Yeah, and we know you were blowing up our phone. It was midnight. I'm like, dude, I got work in the morning, bro. Shut up.
Yeah,
I understand you're happy, but like, damn, bro.
I was listening.
My team's won the Super Bowl 2 years in a row, and I wasn't blowing your guys. Well, last year you guys were at my house, but I wasn't blowing your guys' phone up like that.
You were just soaking it in, man.
Dude, I was listening to the radio call over and over and over. London Fletcher kicking down the door in there. Oh my gosh. The Magic Johnson interview. He was there.
I will say this. I will say this. This was a game that actually made me kind of sad, just because it sucks that you guys both had to play each other this round. I wish Tampa was still in these playoffs, because they were so, like, they're just a lot of fun. And I just really love Baker Mayfield. I really do.
I've come around on him. Yeah, me too.
I saw pictures.
Now he's not your rival. Also,
he also made them relevant, but then they had to immediately run him out of town. So
his value really shows right now, because again, like, look where Cleveland is right now. They're dealing with a freaking quarterback who just re-ruptured his freaking Achilles, and they had him. They had him prior to that, who got them to the playoffs, won them the first playoff game in forever, and then basically got ran out of the league. And then Tampa Bay gave him a shot, and he, has taken it, with everything he's got. But
he's played really well.
Yeah, man. I really wish
I kind of felt for him too.
That this was not. I really wish that this wasn't in the wild card. I really wish that because I think the Commanders is also are a super fun team to have in the playoffs too. I think they're gonna have we'll talk about it more again in the next segment, but I think they're gonna do a lot against. I think they have a good possibility of having a lot of success in Detroit. And I just wish, like, Tampa Bay didn't have to, like, get eliminated.
No, I agree, and I root for Baker Mayfield too, and it was kind of unfortunate to see.
Everybody
that
loves a
game
comeback
ended.
story, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw a picture of fans walking towards Raymond James Stadium on X, Twitter. And I mean, it was a clump of people. Baker Mayfield in a person wearing a Baker Mayfield Rams jersey, a Mayfield Panthers jersey, a Mayfield Browns jersey, a Mayfield Bucks jersey. What an incredible story. Baker
Yeah.
Mayfield was on the verge of like being irrelevant in the league. Tampa picks him up. He's completely changed.
I literally just went through this. I literally just said this.
But again, just coming from what I saw, it is so great to see. It's incredible. Yeah, I'm a Baker fan, and it was a good matchup. Baker played well. Just some mistakes on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers end.
Yeah, they weren't sharp. They weren't sharp in this game. And the Commanders took advantage of it. Got to give credit where credit's due. It was a great game.
Well, yeah, think about it. The fumble ultimately was what costed them because
That was
the fumble and then the botched snap in the red zone there in the late in the fourth quarter. But really, it was more so that fumble because that fumble led to a Commanders touchdown. At that point, the Bucks were moving the ball. It looked like they were going to have themselves a good drive there, and they had the urgency to score on that drive. But then the fumble happened, and then remind me again, didn't they stop the Commanders on fourth down prior to that?
I believe
fumble?
so.
And then,
Yeah,
a couple plays later, that's when the fumble happened, and then it was like, "Oh, here we go
was
again."
Right after the turnover on downs.
It was a touchdown. It was a throw to Zach Ertz. Apparently, people were complaining past.
It looked like PI. Yeah, they missed
it looked like PI. It did.
Yeah.
Said PI, but I'm like, yeah, it is. What
Look, the thing is, we just don't know what the hell is what anymore in this
They don't.
league.
You could call holding on every play. You can call pass interference 98% of the time too. But it's just
but somehow
sometimes
the
you just let
Chiefs
it.
are in
You just let it play
cahoots
out.
with the refs, but yeah, you see the refs going over to Josh Allen and giving him a little.
You've never seen them do that to
encouragement.
Mahomes. That is true. You've never
Exactly,
seen them
that's
do that
what
with
I'm saying.
Mahomes.
Get
that
up-
happened.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I can't believe that happened. I saw it, and I'm like,
look at everything that has happened to the Bills. They got the change that they wanted. The same things have happened to the Chiefs, and we never got that change. It wasn't until it happened to the Bills that they got that stuff done. So I don't want to hear this whole. I don't want to hear the whole conspiracy of the Kansas City Chiefs are in cahoots with the refs. No. Let's start looking at the Buffalo Bills because there's something going on there.
Listen.
Anyways, I took us back. Let's get back on topic.
After watching this game, the penalty that really pisses me off the most is a legal man downfield.
Oh yeah, you can't.
It's like,
yeah,
it's a pass play in the lineman's 5 yards off the ball. How does that affect anything? I understand if he's not eligible, it affecting in some way, but if you're just standing there minding your own damn business, why? Why?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of dumb rules in football.
I know. It's like every single time.
I think it has to do with you could get a benefit by blocking downfield, but I guess on that particular play, he was not blocking downfield, I assume.
Sometimes they play the run. And
that's what makes this also with Jaden Daniels as your quarterback. It makes those RPOs tough because like sometimes linemen don't know what the play is going to be, whether it's going to be a run or a pass. So they may get downfield and run block, and then boom, here comes the pass. So very tough. And I'm not sure how I think sometimes linemen just have to guess really, or just prepare for the run every time. But
I'll tell you one thing.
I think I've always thought it was a dumb rule, not going to lie. Also because the Ravens get called for that all the time as well.
I'll tell you one thing though. The Bucks defense made the Commanders' run game up the middle non-existent. You weren't getting anything up the middle. And it was crazy.
They put the ball in Jaden Daniels' hands, which I think was smart, at least from the start of the game. You put the ball in a rookie quarterback's hands who hasn't, his first playoff game. I think that was a smart call by the Bucks. What they didn't expect is for Jaden to have the game he had, and he did. So he delivered.
And it was pretty crazy too, the fact that and we got to move on here in a second, but to wrap things up here, Jaden got like drilled out of bounds, and I'm like, oh my goodness, getting up. Then they're talking, oh, he got a cut on his cheek. I'm like, anybody else, they're just gonna show it, be like, oh, this man's tough. But they were like, hey, Jaden Daniels got a cut, but he's good to go. We're glued it up, bandage, everything. But I'm gonna wrap this up by saying the Washington Commanders went down to Tampa Bay, the casino. I'm calling it the casino. They cashed in.
This is not going to catch. I'm just letting
Kill it.
This is not going to catch.
Just kill
I'm
it.
just saying they cashed in.
It's not the casino, bro. Tampa Bay is not known as the casino. It's just not.
That's Vegas, man. That's Vegas. Come
Hey,
on.
I'm just calling it for my analogy. So
Where did you? Okay, who did you hear this line from? That
He stole it. He stole it from someone. I like how we had the same thought.
Myself.
Who is trying to push this
No.
casino line?
All right, I'll do some research during the break.
Okay, do some research. The Washington Commanders, their first playoff win since 2005, beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 23-20. Hail to the Commanders. Hail victory.
Commies.
For old DC. They did it. I'm telling you, it's a great time in DC. Fans are loving it. This is a feeling we haven't gotten in so many years. And PFT
Kirby. It's a wild card win. Let's pump the brakes here, okay? You guys didn't win the conference. You guys haven't won a trophy. It's just one playoff win.
Listen,
okay, like let's not act like. I understand that the situation, that the landscape has been wiped out for years, but like, and this is like the first signs of life in decades. But come on.
Okay, but I'll tell you this too. PFT commenter put out a funny quote saying,
"All right, that's enough."
Missed if Dan Snyder's still in the team, but what everybody in place is able to do with this franchise, incredible. Commanders 23-20. We'll take another break. Talk about the matchup on Monday night. Stick right here with us, the Kirby on Sports podcast.
Bed bugs. The only thing creepier than thinking about them is actually having them. Trust me, you don't want to have them. Locally owned and operated Barrett Pest and Termite Services can keep you from having bed bug nightmares and infestations. Call 540-340-3922 to schedule your free inspection and consultation. If bed bugs are already in your home, we'll get rid of them so you can rest easy. We also specialize in keeping homes and businesses free of other pests, including rodents and termites. That's Barrett Pest and Termite Services, 540-340-3922.
Hey there, Kirby on Sports Podcast fans. Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate here for you. Remember, if you have any real estate needs, buying or selling, I'm your guy. I would love to help you out. And you can also find me on my own personal podcast, Iconic Talk, where you get a chance to learn about the local real estate market and why Winchester is an amazing place to live. Reach out to me anytime, 540-247-1527, and find Iconic Talk anywhere you get your podcasts.
And we welcome you back, episode 222 of the Kirby on Sports podcast with the weapon Dan Dempsey, the Swiss Army knife, Carlos Martinez. I am Josh Kirby. Moving on to Monday night, the wild card, and a situation bigger than football, boys. Obviously, the Rams and Vikings, this game getting moved to Arizona due to the devastation in wildfires. And Dan knows a little bit more, being his line of work that he is in, but the wildfires have caused devastation to the areas of California, which the Kirby on Sports podcast would like to extend condolences, thoughts, and prayers out to everybody affected by the wildfires in California. We appreciate law enforcement, everybody out there doing their best to try to
Let's go emergency services, law enforcement. What the law enforcement's going to arrest the fire? Like, what are we doing? Yes, they've been doing a great job as well, of course. But
Yeah.
He means first responders. Probably.
Let's go first
Yeah.
responders. That's what
There
we're
you
saying.
go.
First responders.
And Dan, I know with the line of work you're in, you're sort of in the front line, sort of not. But
No, I'm not. I'm not fighting it. I'm not, I can't sit here and pretend I am.
well, your line of work, you know a little bit more. But I mean, just the wildfire starting with you, just a devastation.
Work line. Oh my God. Go on. Continue. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying. Do you know any more about the wildfires or?
Yeah, there's a ton I know, but it's a very brutal situation. Never seen anything quite like this. Never seen a wildfire that's going to cause this amount of costly damage.
I'm thinking we could say Hawaii last year. We saw something.
Yeah.
Similar.
But I mean, I'm talking about like overall like cost. It's nothing will.
Oh, this is going to be This is going to be one of the most expensive.
But yeah, you're right. You're totally right about the devastation. It's pretty close to what happened in Maui in 2023, I guess now. So yeah, it's a very difficult and sad situation. The Rams had to adjust obviously and had to take have a road, quote unquote, home game in the playoffs, which is always tough. But obviously, it didn't really make a difference for them. They were able to take care of business. But our thoughts, prayers, and our support and condolences go out to everyone in that area. Everyone who's lost a home, everyone who's lost a business. It's just a very, very brutal and sad situation. I see it all day. That's what I do. It's part of my job. I'm on social media looking at all that stuff. So it gets to be a lot. But that's sort of what I would say is we've never seen anything like this to this scale in the U.S. for sure. But anyway, with all that being said, let's get the sad part behind us.
Yes.
Let's try to get some positive out of this.
The game moved to Arizona. The Cardinals welcoming the Rams.
Real quick on the game movement. Why did they move it to Arizona and not to Vegas? Because I feel like Vegas is like 3 hours away from Los Angeles, whereas Glendale
it was
6
weird.
hours away. That's what I didn't understand. Look, I mean, the Cardinals did a phenomenal job hosting this game.
Yes,
they obviously they sent the planes and everything to help get all the players' families.
Yeah.
And their pets and everybody that was like important to them to get them out of Los Angeles just in case.
Really
that way, I think they opened up their practice facility to the Rams, and then they did a lot in terms of the stadium too to make it feel like a home game. They got rid of a lot of the Cardinals branding and they even put up a SoFi sign in the stadium to make it seem like it was, a home game, like a true home game. Like they did a lot to really accommodate for the Rams. So we have to applaud the Cardinals, division rivals, but they had the Rams back. So that's what really, that's a good story too, that the Cardinals really stepped up to really help the Rams out in terms of, making them feel like they're at home away from home.
I'll just add too, I think in tragedies, you have big stories like that, and you'd also have small stories of people and businesses and other entities just lending a helping hand wherever they can. So again, like you said, Carlos, applaud the Cardinals for their work. Applaud the NFL as well for being able to pull this off and to have sort of a smooth, seamless transition for the Rams and the Vikings as well to be able to play this game. Because sometimes we need that distraction, and I think people who, obviously it's easy to sit here and say that on the East Coast when I haven't lost everything, but I think in times of these types of tragedies, it's good to have that distraction.
With that, looking on the field, another boring wild card game.
The Vikings are frauds. Somehow they ended up being frauds.
Sam Darnold looked like his old self, I guess.
He finally went pumpkin mode. He finally went pumpkin. I don't know what happened. I mean, he's not looked great the past 2 weeks, but I really thought this team was gonna be good, man. And they just really they screwed the pooch on this one, like really
It was bad.
Sam Darnold did not play well. The whole Vikings didn't play good at all. The Rams looked fantastic. They really knew how to turn it on. And I mean, there's not really a lot to say, though. The Rams really played well, but I don't really know how much you can necessarily say. I don't know, man. I don't know what happened to the Vikings. I really don't. Like, they just floundered somehow for some reason. It makes no sense how they went from beating Green Bay and just looking like world beaters and Sam Darnold comes into the locker room celebrating and they pick him up and they do the whole Rudy celebration type thing where they put him on his shoulders and everything.
True.
And then then they completely screwed they screwed the pooch in Detroit and then here. I mean, I really thought that they were going to win this game. I thought they were going to rebound well and they didn't. And Los Angeles really showed us like, hey, like, yeah, sure, we didn't play well the past few weeks, but like we can turn it on when we need to.
Yeah, and I think also, I mean, I talked about this a little earlier, but I think the playoff experience for the Rams definitely shine through in this game, and I think also the emotional aspect of it as well, with them being a Los Angeles team, obviously, I think played a little bit of a factor, but. Yeah, I did not expect the Vikings to have such a poor performance, and especially Sam Darnold. It was I was kind of shocked by it, to be quite honest. I didn't watch this game with full intention and all that like the other games.
No, I didn't either. In all honesty, I was paying more attention to Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, see, that's my problem with Super Wildcard Weekend. It really is super. There's a lot of football, but I think by the end, it's just like, all right, like.
The Monday night games, I hate the Monday night game. I really hate it.
Me too.
Honest, it's at that point you're tired. You just went through 3 games the day before, 2 games on Saturday. Now on top of that, we're gonna have to factor in the college football playoffs the 2 days prior to that.
Point.
So Thursday, Friday, you're watching football games. Then you got 2 games on Saturday. It's like just move the Monday game to Saturday. Like we don't need a Monday night football game. It also puts those teams that are playing on that day at a disadvantage. Because then they have to turn around and work on a short week while
that's true.
Like while a team that played on Saturday, is going to get more rest.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. They gotta. The Monday night game is stupid. Get rid of it. Agreed.
I'll say that. I agree. But I don't have a ton to add. I think the Rams. I think they came out and they surprised a lot of people with how they played, and the Vikings definitely surprised people with how poorly they played. It was bad. It was just brutal, and I'm not sure where they go from here, but we shall see. Their offseason is going to be interesting, I'm sure. But
the offseason for the Vikings, how does that turn? Because we look. And the Vikings draft J.J. McCarthy. They're in a predicament here. Do they just cut Sam Darnold completely?
He's not ready to be. No, he's not ready to be an NFL quarterback. I don't. No,
but I think. Well, I think
that might be coming.
Hold on. As far as I have seen, is that the Vikings are planning on keeping Daniel Jones.
Forgot they have him as well. Yeah.
Or they're planning to keep him on as the backup. And I think what it looks like is they might just shop JJ McCarthy away, because at the end of the day, one thing you have to factor in is they did win 14 games.
It's true.
So the question just is okay, how do we extend that with Sam Darnold if he's the guy? But as far as I know, Sam Darnold only signed a 1-year contract with the Vikings. So he's technically a free agent. They can franchise tag him, but he has the option to go anywhere he wants. A favorite landing spot right now is he goes to the Raiders if they decide to stick with JJ McCarthy. I don't know. I don't know where they go from here. There's not, there's going to be a lot of questions that need to be answered. But, I mean, all in all, he did win 14 games this year. So you have – and he did look good for a majority of the season. It's just he kind of flopped here in the last 2 weeks. So I don't think necessarily that you I don't think there's a strong case to move on from him.
What do you think is going to be his value as a quarterback in the free agency market? Baker Mayfield
money.
Fair enough.
That's everything that I've heard. Everybody suggests that it'll be Baker Mayfield level money. He's not going to make something like Dak Prescott money.
No, I would hope not.
That kind of money either.
No, he does not.
Yeah, but I mean, the Rams just looked dominant. Their defense stepped up huge. The Vikings line, it was like, oh my gosh, man. Oh my
Sean McVay just gets them ready to play. It's just the bottom line. They step up. He has them.
See how the Rams
stepped up in big
started the
games.
year and where they are now? They're one away from an NFC championship game.
Yeah, nobody was even thinking about them
crazy.
this year, really.
Crazy.
Kind of
Yeah,
slid under the radar.
Great, ladies and gentlemen.
Or the Lions. Everybody that's still in the playoffs is one way away from the NFC championship game.
That is pretty crazy.
It's true. That is true.
They won the Super Bowl like a few years ago, Kirby. It's not that they were in the playoffs. They were in the playoffs last year. Like the Rams aren't like some poverty franchise that just came out of nowhere. Like they've been here.
Yeah, they're not the Commanders, so they've been there.
They've been there. They have done that.
That's right.
So, is there anything else to add on this game?
No, I think we need to roll.
I think we need to get to the pick'ems, the Kirby on Sports pick'ems, and that comes right after a short break. You're tuned in to the Kirby on Sports podcast.
It's Jason, General Manager at Shenandoah Music, here to tell you all about... Jay, what are you doing here? Well, Matt, I'm trying to tell the people about our selection of guitars, basses, keyboards, drum sets.
I know that, but I always do the radio spots.
You get to have all the fun. I want to tell everyone about our huge selection, unbeatable prices, unmatched service, and in-depth knowledge.
Jay, I really don't think now is the time to discuss.
So remember, folks, when you think music, think Shenandoah Music in Winchester.
That's my line.
The Cider House is now open on East Piccadilly Street in downtown Winchester. The Cider House is open starting at noon Wednesday to Sunday. Stop in for a wide variety of ciders on draft, as well as 4 Virginia beers, wine, and ready-to-drink canned cocktails. Don't miss our lunch specials featuring our house salad. We also have dinner specials too. Stop in today at the Cider House, located on Piccadilly Street in downtown Winchester.
We are back, episode 222 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. It's now time for the best part of the show, the Kirby on Sports Divisional Round Pick'ems. Here we go. Carlos, lead the ship.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the divisional round of the Kirby on Sports Pick'ems, brought to you by Anthony's Pizza, home of the Warrior. Interesting developments have happened here. Ladies and gentlemen, your eyes do not deceive you. Josh Kirby is currently tied for second place with one Dan Dembski. The Commanders came through for Kirby, did not let him down, and got him in a position to get out of the Kirby zone. The current standings are, of course, I am in first place at 78 and 36. Dan and Kirby are both tied for second/last place at 77 and 37.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Interesting developments to come. I will explain the scenarios a little later. With that being said, we will be picking, obviously, the 4 divisional round games. We'll be picking the marquee matchup, Ravens-Bills. That was, I'm not going to lie, boys, that one was really hard to pick for me. I struggled. I went back and forth, and ultimately I landed on my pick. We will be picking the Houston Texans against the Kansas City Chiefs. Not a hard game to pick. The Rams-Eagles, also an interesting game. And the Commanders-Lions. Hold on. A little history. I do have history for you guys. At this point, last season, Dan Dembski was in first place. with a 76-38 record, which means
Oh,
he is
wow.
one game improved this year. You're one game in front and you're tied. This is an
That's
incredible just turn of events. I was in second place at 74-40. So at this point, I was 2 games behind
Wow.
Dan. And this point, I am 4 games to the better, and I am in first place. So props on me.
I
But
must have
once
picked
again,
against Kansas
our
City in
most-
this round last year.
This is when you started picking against us, yes. And that's what ultimately ended up costing you.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
picking against Kansas City for the next 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Here is our most improved picker of the season, Josh Kirby. Last season, at this point, was at 64-50, a 13-game swing this year.
Nice.
Absolutely incredible. Kirby, your thoughts, please.
Thank you, Carlos. I'll take that question. We're just playing our brand of pick'ems, and
All right, next.
You already did this. You did this line. You did this line last time. Give me something real. How do you feel?
Yeah,
How do you feel
just
actually
picking
being
games.
in the race this year?
I'm just picking games, having fun, and seeing where the results take me. And so far, it's been good. Just trying to find the best analytics, the best lines, just to figure out what works best.
All right, let's move
I'm asking
on.
you for Kirby. I'm asking you for a real answer here. How do you feel being the race?
I'm
Don't
looking
do
at the
this
analytics.
mumbo-
I'm looking at the
Looking at the
lines. I'm looking at the.
stuff that nobody looks at. Look, I'm in first place and I don't look at any of that
No,
dumb
I'm
shit.
No, me either.
I'm just
Me either.
picking the teams I think, and it's been working out. That's about all it
There we
is.
go. There we go.
Simple as that.
All right. Well, with that all being said, let's get to the picks. I will go first, as always, as your two-time Pick'em's champion, working on third. I will be taking the Baltimore Ravens over the Buffalo Bills. I know, shocking, ladies and gentlemen. I went back and forth. This game is absolutely so impossible to pick because there's
hard.
so many cases for the Ravens. There were so many cases for the Bills. But at the end of the day, we have visual evidence already that the Ravens know how to beat the Bills. And this means, I feel like this game is going to mean a lot more to Baltimore than it is to Buffalo because the Ravens are on the road. So it's going to be an us against the world mentality in this game. The weather is not going to be pretty for this game, but it's perfect for a Derrick Henry game because these guys aren't going to want to hit Derrick Henry with how cold it's going to be. So advantage. Oh, and the Buffalo defense is very shoddy sometimes. So advantage Baltimore, in my opinion. It's going to be hard to stop Josh Allen. Don't get it twisted. This isn't going to be a blowout. This is going to be a very competitive game, but advantage Baltimore. I will take the Kansas City Chiefs over the Houston Texans as I am contractually obligated to. The Kansas City Chiefs are, of course, here. They are finally here to make the appearance and to bless your beautiful TV screens with championship level football, baby.
Oh my gosh.
In all seriousness, look, we saw this game a few weeks ago. Houston wasn't overly impressive against the Chargers. And honestly, it's the Nico Collins, show. If he doesn't get going, they're not doing anything.
I don't think this game's close. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kansas City is going to really turn it on here. We're going to see things that we hadn't seen all season that they've been holding back. And I think that Kansas City wins a comfortable game. Maybe works a little rust off. I expect possibly a slow start in the beginning because we haven't played a meaningful football game in a little bit. But they're going to get it going, and then they're just going to take over as they normally do and book our ticket to the championship game. I will take the Eagles against the Rams. I'm taking the Eagles mostly because they're in Philly, and I think that they knocked some rust off in that game against Green Bay. But it's going to be a competitive game. This isn't going to be an easy game, and I can see LA possibly pulling off the upset. But I think there's too much talent on this Eagles team, with the wide receivers, Saquon, Jalen, just needs to get going. And then that defense was really good in that Packers game. We didn't really give them a lot of credit, but they did a lot of good stuff. So give me the Eagles. And this game, the Commanders against the Lions, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I also kind of had a hard time picking this one because I can really see a scenario because this Lions defense is pretty beat up still, despite the fact that they got this bye week. And the Commanders are playing really well offensively. It's just, can they make stops defensively against this very good Lions offense and their incredible running game? But ultimately, I landed on the Lions. I can't doubt them. They feel like they feel like a team of destiny per se, and I think that they just have all the motivation to get to the Super Bowl. So I'll give me the Lions over the Commanders. With all that being said, I will now throw it to this podcast's. Can I say favorite number 2 still? Who knows?
Still number 2. It's still there until he dethrones
the podcast's favorite number 2, Dan Dembski.
Thank you, Carlos. Holding on another week. So I will start, obviously contractually obligated to take the Ravens over the Bills. I think this is going to be a really, really fun game. This almost has the vibe to me of what we've seen with the Chiefs and Bills in the playoffs in the past. I think this is going to have a similar game, and I think it could come down to the end like many of those games have. And like Carlos said, I think this game favors the Ravens because of, as Carlos mentioned, the Bills' defense not always being sharp. I think the Ravens are going to run the football very effectively, and I do think Lamar Jackson will have a good game against this defense. I think the key for me in this game is, can the Ravens get pressure on Josh Allen? Obviously, that's the key against any quarterback in the league, but they made his life miserable earlier this season, and when they brought pressure and hit him a lot in their matchup in the regular season. So I think that's going to be the key in this game. If they can do that, I think they will win on the road. That's a tough place to go and play, not only weather-wise, but it's a rabid fan base as well. And this is going to be, I think, an instant classic type of game, but I will take my Baltimore Ravens over the Buffalo Bills. I will take.
We're getting like a 13-second game level of.
That's going to be hard to match. I would say no. I don't think we'll see anything like that for a long time, if ever again, to be honest with you. Because believe me, if it comes down to where they have to score in the last 13 seconds, I will have a heart attack, and you will not hear from me probably.
How do you think we were on a live stream doing that. How do you think I felt?
Oh, man. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
We live streamed that. You can still watch our reactions. I was not okay.
And the start of that was the Bucs-Rams game.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Oh, my gosh. He made the catch. Dude, great memories.
Yeah, good times. Good times. I will take the Chiefs over the Texans. I mean, they're the Kansas City Chiefs. This is going to be a game where, as Carlos said, I think they are going to have some rust to start, but I do expect Andy Reid to have these guys ready to play. They're always ready to play this time of year, and I think they punch another ticket to the AFC title game. I just think it's too much for the Texans to overcome, and I have not really seen a game from the Texans this year where they have blown me away with a performance. So I think that kind of speaks for itself. I think we've been waiting to see Kansas City break through. I think towards the end of the season, they had a string of games there where they finally started to do so, especially in weeks 17. 17? Yeah, because there's 18 total weeks. And yeah, I think Kansas City will win this game. I'm going to say by 10. I think they are able to pull away late in this game and put away the Texans. I will take the Eagles over the Rams. This was kind of a tough one for me just because the Rams are sort of still kind of flying under the radar, in my opinion. No one's really given them much credit, even though they've proven in the past, in the last 4 or 5 years, that they can win these types of games. And the Eagles right now, I haven't seen enough from Jalen Hurts recently to where I'm comfortable he can come out and have a great game. I think he's going to have to against this Rams team. I will say I think the one advantage is that the Rams defense is a little shaky to me. So I think if the Eagles are going to get it going, it's going to have to be against this defense. And obviously getting Saquon Barkley going early in this game too is going to be the key for me, especially with the Eagles at home. So I will take the Eagles over the Rams. I do think it's going to be a close game. I do think it's going to come down to the end, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe a late Matt Stafford interception kind of seals this game for the Eagles' victory. And last but not least, I will pick the Lions over the Commanders. I agree with Carlos on this. This was a tough one to pick, mostly because of the Lions being so banged up, but they've been able to really, they've been able to not let those injuries affect them in an extreme way. So it's been really impressive to see how Dan Campbell's been able to just have this team playing really fired up and inspired football, as he did last year as well. And Carlos is right. This feels like a team that they're destined for a Super Bowl appearance at some point. Maybe not win, but certainly appearance. That's a fan base that's been starving for it for a long time. And I think this game at home in Detroit, it's going to be a tough place for the Commanders, being a very young team, to go and win. But I would not be surprised if Jaden Daniels is able to work some magic and get the upset in this game. And, of course, if that happens, your podcast's favorite number 2 becomes the podcast's favorite number 3. And I know we'll talk more about the scenarios there. But with that, I know it doesn't sound confident, but I will take the Detroit Lions at home. Yeah, they just feel like a really special team this year, and I hope I'm right. That's all I have to say about that. But good luck to the Commanders as well. With that, I will throw it to this podcast's host and current number 3. It's tied for third, I guess tied for second. Josh Kirby, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Dan. I'm going to pick the Ravens. This one, I was torn. I was going through scenarios in my left side of the brain, right side of the brain. I decided to pick.
That's not how it works.
That's not how that works. That's not how the Force works.
Sorry, Kirby. Go ahead.
I'm just a stupid analogy to say it was a tough pick. This is going to be a damn good game. Don't get me wrong. I will pick the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry have an impressive ball game. Moving on, I'm not really impressed with what the Texans have going into this game against the Chiefs. The Chiefs are well rested. I think the Chiefs win by 10 points or more. I'm picking the Chiefs. This is going to be a battle, but I think, unfortunately, Philly is going to come away on top. Wouldn't be surprised if the Rams could give the Eagles a run for their money, but Saquon Barkley is going to be key in this matchup, and I think Saquon Barkley will be the difference maker if the Eagles' passing game does not get up to standard in time, if that makes sense. So I'm picking the Eagles over the Rams. Gentlemen, I will give you my last pick, but Dan, I need you to ask me why I'm picking this team.
I know.
Just go with me here.
No,
Joshua Kirby.
Hold on. Kirby, why are you picking them?
Because I am contractually obligated.
It doesn't matter
why you're picking them. There we go. We're in sync there, Carlos.
That's about all I got, because I know what this Lions team has done. They're a fun team to watch in the Detroit Lions. And the Commanders facing off against the number 1 seed in the NFC at their place, it's going to be a very raucous atmosphere.
Okay, but just in a raucous atmosphere.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's not an impossibility that the Commanders win this game. Let's
Detroit isn't some fortress that you can't win in.
Yeah.
You know? So we're not talking Arrowhead, you know?
Yeah.
So all I'm saying here, it's going to take a complete effort by this Washington Commanders team. I will say, if the Lions come out on top, I won't be disappointed because I'm a fan.
Liar. I guarantee
I
you
really
come on this
won't.
podcast next week and you're going to be all doom and gloom.
No, I will not be disappointed if the Lions beat the Commanders.
All right, write that down, Carlos, so we can remind him of this.
We will. If you come on here moping, like I'm gonna have no sympathy for you, and I'm going to let you. I'm going to rip you a new one.
All right.
Likewise.
But listen, I am fine if the Commanders lose to the Lions because this will be a good matchup. But I'm at peace with the fate if fate has it that the Commanders lose, because the Lions are a good team. They're fun to watch. I have no problem with the Detroit Lions.
I think you guys can compete. I really think you guys are going to compete in this game. I really think there's you guys have a possibility of winning. I do
as well. And let's make sure we pay attention to social media as well when he's commentating during the game about how terrible they are, Carlos, as well. Because that also counts as doom and gloom. And are at peace with what happens, I highly doubt that's going to be the case.
No, but I'm telling you, it's just the Lions. I'm a fan of the Lions, sort of. When I see them on, they play exciting football. But they're going up against the Commanders, the team I root for and love. So, but
just enjoy the ride, man.
I'm enjoying the ride. And I will say, hear me out here. The Commanders went down to the casino.
Okay.
Oh my God. The casino's not happening. Stop. It's not the casino. No, it's not. No, I will not allow the casino to happen.
Yeah.
I know.
You got to listen.
Do not do this casino bit. Enough with the casino bit. Continue.
Just listen, okay? It will take 5 seconds.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
The Commanders go down to the casino.
Hey, they cashed in off the fourth down. They're going to Detroit, playing with house money. They are playing with house money.
You got to stop with this because you really got to stop with the casino a bit. It just doesn't work.
That's all I got.
It's Tampa freaking Bay. They're not known for their casinos. It's Detroit. They're not known for their casinos.
They're known for. Never mind. Never mind.
House money. All I gotta say is house money here on forward.
If you had said we're gonna go to Detroit with a government bailout, then you might have something. But it doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Hey, nobody expected the Commanders to be in this spot. They're playing with house money.
This is true.
They could shock.
That's a good point. Carlos and I agree. I think we both said that. I think this is a winnable game for Washington. Now, if they come out
with this stupid casino bit, please.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Okay. You heard it. I'm done. I got my point across.
Cashing in on third down, please, or fourth down.
So that
went down to the casino. Here are the scenarios. Yeah. Hold on. We got to go scenarios. Okay, scenarios. There will be no change between me and Dan. If it all goes to chalk, I will be going into conference championship weekend with a 1-game advantage if this goes the way me and Dan have picked it.
And we'll have a rematch.
This is where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
You're right. We will. But this is where it gets interesting. Josh Kirby, if the Commanders come through for him again, he then moves.
He's in second officially.
Tied for first. Because I will then lose that game, and he will match me 78.
That's right.
Whatever it would be. Basically, we will be tied going into conference championship weekend. Yep. And it'll be a battle between me and Kirby. So there's a lot on the line for you here because you lose this, you fall back 1 game with 2 games to pick next week, and then 1 game for the Super Bowl.
I don't know,
Kirby.
It gets a lot harder.
Yeah, I feel like it gets to borderline impossible.
At least I'm not mathematically eliminated.
No, and I don't think you can be mathematically. I think you'll be in it. No, I think after next week. I think if you're going to lose 4 years in a row.
But it's a good step from being mathematically eliminated a couple weeks prior last year.
I guess, Kirby, but
It's a good step. Still last.
Hold on. Like here's the problem, Kirby. I did go back into the archives, and we did discuss what happens if you lost again this year. On top of having to wear the dress to IHOP to eat the pancakes that you still owe us, you will also not be allowed to compete in the pick'ems next year.
Oh.
Huh?
Oh.
We discussed this earlier in the year that if you lost again, you would be out of the pick'ems next year. You would not be allowed to pick.
What does that mean?
That's what that means. You're not allowed
Am I
to pick in the
speaking
pick'ems.
English, bro? You're out of the pick'ems. You're not involved next year.
I mean, I named this podcast, and you're just gonna throw me out of our pick'ems?
I mean, you've lost 4 years in a row, bro.
That's a 4-time loser consecutively. That's
I
a brutal stretch. What are you? The Buffalo Bills in the AFC title game? Come on, man. Or in the Super Bowl. Sorry, Super Bowl.
It was
yeah,
four
you're
Super
right,
Bowls. 4 Super Bowls.
I don't know.
They hate that kicker for sure.
All right, that's the Kirby.
Unfortunately, we have record of this arrangement, so
it's set in audio stone, as they say.
You need to aim for at least second right now because you're kind of cooked.
Well,
nice for you.
Listen, that's the Kirby on Sports PickEm. We got to wrap this show up.
Yeah, we do.
Super Wildcard Weekend, a fun time, divisional round. Hopefully some better matchups, but a huge thanks to all of our
round is always the best round. It just always is.
Absolutely. Listen, for our sponsors, PM Plus Reserve, Shenandoah Primitives, Transformative Alignment Group, Barrett, Pest, and Termite Services, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Shenandoah Music, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, the Cider House on East Piccadilly Street in Winchester, Virginia, and the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports podcast, Don't Sleep Energy. Use promo code KOS Podcast for 12% off your order every single time. Find us on all audio streaming platforms, YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, share, and KirbyOnSports.com. We got to roll. Thank you so much for your time. For the weapon, Dan Dembski, the Swiss Army knife, Carlos Martinez. This has been a presentation of the Kirby on Sports podcast, episode 222. All I can say, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for all the support. And as always, remember to create greatness. And
there it is.
Create greatness and smell what Josh Kirby is cooking.